Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. New in 2023. It's like gotta get used to.
2023 minute movies.
I know. So who's have you written that down yet? 2023. It's like it's always new for New Year. Anyway, yeah. This one's gonna be short and sweet.
Yeah, we have a handful of wonderful films.
Not quite a handful. A handful of a dude who's not been careful in the wood shop. Yeah.
We have a pinch of wonderful films.
Yeah.
Just a sprinkling.
A sprinkling. I don't see anybody in backstage yet. Did I do that right? I sent out an email.
If any of the filmmakers are watching, like Kirk, hello, just let us know you got that email.
I think I sent it out. Yeah, it's and then Warner. Where's Warner? We've got 3 films tonight.
Got
Kirk,
3
Warner,
films tonight.
Peter, and they're all pretty good, except Kirk's. Not Kirk's.
Except Kirk's, they're all great.
Kirk's is awesome. Yeah, and then I was gonna say except Warner because I never understand Warner's. I always love his films; they're great, but I never understand them. So.
Well, Kirk got the email, so
Cool.
That's good.
All righty. Well,
and
let me just send it out. I forget.
Actually, since you sent the email, I don't even know who's first. Let's see. We've got Warner, then Pete, then Kirk.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see Peter yet.
I don't see anyone except Kirk.
Should we just go sideways and let Kirk play his film first?
For anyone who might be watching, who's never joined us before. I never know if those people are out there. Sometimes,
sometimes
there could be people watching who've never been to movies before.
And there might be in the future sometime.
Yeah. So every month we do a film challenge where people make a film about a minute long, inspired by the word of the month. So this month, the word is invite.
So we invited everybody to make films this month. Yeah.
And then we invited them here to watch them with us.
Yeah. And a few people showed up. Yeah.
And if you want to, next time we invite you to watch us next month.
And at the end of this screening, we shall introduce the word for the following February 2023.
Yes, February 2023.
Okay. Well, what the heck? I don't see Warner. So should we just play his film?
Should we have this be the shortest screening we've ever done and blow through all the films?
Just play them one time. We usually play them twice. Oh, I see Peter. Hey, Peter's there.
All right. Well, I guess we could do Peter, then Kirk, then Warner if Warner shows up a little late.
And Sarah's on East Coast time zone.
I am East Coast time zone right now.
Along with Warner too, right?
No, he's Central Time.
Is he? Oh.
I drove straight north into Michigan and got in a different time zone. Don't know how that works, but
there you are.
But here I am. It's kind of weird because the sun is in the same spot, but the time of day is completely different.
Whoa. It's just like, boom, all showed up. 1, 2, 3. All righty. Let's, Warner, you ready? You're up, buddy. Where'd you go?
All right, Warner.
I see him, but he went away.
Well, I'm going to add you in, and it'll just be...
Add him in anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right, I've got a couple of AV issues here. There we go. Excellent.
Oh, AB. AB, buddy.
Thanks for getting us together. Good night and good evening.
Yeah.
There we go.
Turn my volume up. There you are. Seem a little low, but you're okay.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Awesome. So what do you have to say for yourself this month, Warner?
Sure. So I had a lot of fun this time with a colleague, a friend of mine, and brought him in to kind of be one of our specialists. So kind of doing another kind of Jimmy report and kind of doing a little bit of a reconnaissance to the state of things. And so I had a little fun with it. So that's kind of it at the moment. So we can roll that footage.
Roll it.
Alrighty. Let's roll it.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Jimmy Buktowski. What do the world's leading tech billionaires and unelected health officials share in common? They've been invited to the annual Portugal-based Swing Wuhan Infectious Disease and Development Conference Expo, at which officials will be exploring, among other issues, best quarantining practices as well as digital ID developments. Joining us to discuss is the conference head as well as World Health Federation Chairman, Xxxxx. But first, a word from our sponsors, North County Jefferson Auto Auction.
To get you pre-financed, plus we're going to do a vehicular inspection before leaving the property. All going to be buttoned up for you.
Dr. Koop, thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about this expo?
Thank you. Right now, our main focus is bringing together biotechnology and outbreak mitigation.
And why, after the latest string of health emergencies, it's now back on the radar?
We cannot wait for another incident to harness biodata, especially in the third world. Now, surveillance is extremely important.
Better make sure I keep eating my Wheaties. Tomorrow on News 9 at 5, the latest behind the curtain of recent digital token collapse, Langon, and the allegations surrounding its founder. We'll bring you the latest. All right.
Awesome.
Right. So
Yeah,
who was
just
that?
kind of having a little fun with a lot of these conferences that we're hearing about lately, and just kind of the merging of tech and healthcare, I guess. So brought in my friend to play one of the officials, so it's kind of good timing.
Yeah. Was he he's the kook?
Yes, Xxxx. So I brought him in and kind of gave the conference kind of a Chinese element to it, put it in a place like Portugal. And so I'm kind of playing up the elites there a little bit and the politicalness of it all, but trying to kind of have a little fun with it too, I guess. So.
Cool.
Yeah. And
But it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, North Country Auto Auction, Jefferson Auto Auction. You know, got to keep the local media, the local media station installed with that. So.
yep.
And I did have a spelling error with health, but I just wanted it to be up for the screening. So I'm going to go back through and probably tweak that before I make it kind of publicly available, if you will. I keep some of the Jimmy installments kind of private, if you will, and then some of them are open. So it kind of depends, right? So because I don't like to get too political on the public videos, but this one I thought was relatively harmless. So
yeah, you're not making only little slight issues, you know, the surveillance thing, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The surveillance and the digital IDs. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, like,
and then the joke about crypto.
Like a friend of mine's going overseas and wondering if I'm on WhatsApp, you know, just today to say, hey, I'd like to send you some photos, you know, of my trip. You know, you on WhatsApp? I'm like, used to be, but I don't know. That's one of the highest surveilled apps on the internet, right? You know,
Is it?
Chinese government have full access to everything that WhatsApp can get off your phone. Yeah. Because it's a Chinese company that runs it.
No, WhatsApp is owned by Facebook.
Meta, yeah.
Meta, is it now?
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok.
There's a
is
different Chinese
but-
app that I forget what it is. That's the most popular one in China, but WhatsApp is owned by Meta.
Okay.
I believe TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is a China company.
So
Yes,
TikTok.
yes.
Yeah.
TikTok is.
But to
Where
your
did
to your point, certainly all of our conversations are
Yeah,
surveilled, and you know,
that's true.
if you have, you know, unless you have 1,000, you know, subscribers, or it kind of depends on the way they gauge the algorithms probably, but
And then they're always updating the terms of usage.
yeah,
And
the keywords
have-
and the terms and conditions.
have you ever read through that stuff? It's like, it seemed, you know, like the Facebook even, you know, they give themselves permission to access any part of your phone, I think, you know.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was helping my mom kind of set her up with a new phone the other day, and she's relatively savvy, and I was going through and like literally shutting off her microphone access to all these apps, her photo access, because a lot of times when you download these apps, they actually are gaining access to everything on your phone. So even if it's like a Twitter app, or certainly like you said, the Facebooks of the world, so always keep that in mind. You know, with all of your apps, make sure the settings are turned, our microphone off, and photo access is off as well. It's pretty disturbing.
GPS location.
Yeah, it's amazing how many apps ask for your GPS location, and you're like, why do you need to know where I am?
Yeah.
Like,
Literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
and whenever I'm not, you know,
We're targeting.
or like doing something like this tonight, I'll turn off my Bluetooth and my Wi-Fi and my privacy like locations as well. So and look, regardless of where we fall on all of this, like politically, because again, I've never been anti V, you know, the V word. I'm not anti anything to that. I just felt like the whole thing, again, where depending on where you fall, it became a little bit overhyped, I think. And you know, so that's kind of what I sometimes like to kind of just touch on in a way that, you know, hopefully isn't too preachy, but just kind of, you know, raising awareness to it, I guess. But
Yeah. It's fun stuff.
cheers. Thanks.
yeah. Thanks, Warner.
Yeah.
Always bringing up things in, you know,
Yeah, just subtly, maybe.
tongue
I
in
don't know.
cheek a little bit, but
A little bit.
And squish face sometimes.
Did
Sometimes
you like
squish
that?
face.
What did you think of the Dr. Xxxxx Kook? I mean, I know he wasn't outwardly maybe funny, but he was pretty much in character, I thought, for the role.
yeah, I thought he was good. Yeah, he seemed like a doctor on the, you know, being interviewed at a conference for sure.
Right, an unelected doctor.
Yeah.
Just espousing things to us. So, cheers. Well, thanks. Pretty light screening tonight, I noticed.
Yeah. Thank you, Warner.
Thanks, Warner.
All right. Oh, and sorry, Jeff, you had a lot of comments there. I bet Warner will see these.
I just it was covered up by something on my screen too. Yeah. Jeff's been very active in the chat room, but yeah. Did I mean TikTok? You're right. I did mean TikTok. But
and there is one like Chinese app that's the most commonly used social media app in China. That's not TikTok, but it's like a messaging. It's like Facebook plus Twitter combined.
Yeah.
And it starts with a W, so that's why I thought that's what you were talking about, but I don't remember the name of it.
Cool. All righty.
Anyway,
bring our friend Peter up.
Should we invite you in, Peter? All right, here we go. Ooh, you've got some lights this time.
Yeah, I got jealous of Stuart's light show on the ceiling.
I got bored of mine. So, yeah.
These were on half price sale at the Ace Hardware. So
there you go.
Excellent.
Now's the time of year, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Add a little bit of festivity.
Yes.
Yep.
We usually leave the lights on all year long, so it's festive all year, Festivus all the time.
Festivus
Nice.
for the rest of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
Right, what do you have
updated
for
with
us
last year's
today?
models.
Yes. Yeah, we've got some LED stuff out in the front yard now. So inside and out.
Nice.
No Christmas tree though.
No.
No.
We had at our old place we had a pothos vine that wrapped all the way around our dining
Oh,
room, and we would
yeah.
decorate that instead of putting up a tree. We would just hang ornaments like along this vine all the way around the dining room. It was pretty nice.
Well, I made this box that sat on a. I peeled it was when I took down a fir tree, and it was about, I don't know, 12 inches in diameter, and I used about 3 feet of it as a stand, and I built this box with some water troughs inside of it and holes on the top. And I'd go out and cut branches off trees and stick all different branches, and then run lights through it and stuff. And that was my Christmas tree, so it wasn't killing anything. So
there you go.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
a couple branches. So and we've got holly trees and fir trees and cedars and actually some eucalyptus that I planted. So
Eucalyptus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hardy eucalyptus.
Nice.
So.
And I lived in northern Spain for a year in Catalonia, and their tradition is to have a log with a face painted on the end and a blanket draped over it.
Huh. Okay.
And instead of having a tree, and then like throughout the month, the kids and the family are supposed to feed it snacks and like bring it cookies and other, snack type things to feed it so that on Christmas it will poop out their presents. And so they take a stick and they sing a song and they hit the log a bunch of times for their presents to appear under the blanket. And the song is about asking this log to poop out their presents.
It sounds like something from Twin Peaks.
Wow. That's funny.
So if you wanted to embrace a kettle on tradition and not kill a tree, just start singing to a log.
I don't know about the pooping part, but our cat has gotten sick and is getting better and went from being an outside cat to an inside cat, and he's constantly pooping in the cat box, and I have to be vigilant because the dogs think that that's gold, and so they'll mine the cat box for cat poop. I have to get there before the dogs do, otherwise it's
oh my god,
awful.
Yeah. That reminds me of a product line. I'll just throw it out there that I was going to do at one point, which was a dog sauce. Like you could pour it on dog food. And there's like good dog sauce and bad dog sauce, and one of them was going to be kitty litter poop for bad dog sauce. they like it. What's that?
The other side of that is we feed our dogs both. Here's one right here. Both dry food and canned food mixed once a day, and a lot of times there's sauce in the wet canned food, and I'll save that for the cat, and the cat eats that.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So maybe you might want to try cat sauce too.
Cat sauce. Yeah, cats are more
cat
finicky.
sauce.
They need more alluring to eat their food, don't they?
Dogs
will eat anything, pretty much.
Mostly.
Yeah.
One of our dogs likes apples and pears and bananas, and demands that with her food too. So it's just Everybody gets their own food preparation around here.
Oh, yeah.
So finicky. Well, tell us about your film today, Peter.
Do I have
As
to?
exciting as this conversation is.
Um, I'm trying to remember. I think it's been a while. Well, 10 years ago or so, I started, I don't know, have you been out to the Vashon movie theater at all?
I have not.
No.
Either any? It's the first movie theater on the island burned down in the 40s, and then they built a new one, and a guy who was he grew up mostly on the island. I think the family moved here mid 40s or something. And so he went through high school, and he was contracted. He was an artist. He got different awards from places and stuff, and was known as an artist. And he was contracted by the movie theater owner to paint murals on either side of the screen. And they're controversial in a way because a lot of the kids think they're scary. There's let's see, stage right. So the left side of the stage as you're looking at it is kind of a bare tree with a snake coiled up through it, and this woman like dancing next to it. And it's that's known as the Tree of Life. And the other side has this big Easter Island stone head, and these two guys that look like they're Caribbean. They have sort of short white pants and no, they don't have any shirts on at all. And they're dancing in this sort of tropical scene. And he painted that when he was 22, 1952. And they were both supposedly based on the story of the lost continent of Mu. And there was this guy named James Churchward, who was a British naval officer, and he wrote these books about the lost continent of Mu, and it's the Pacific version of the Atlantis story. And supposedly there were like 35 million people on it, and the continent sank and lost all this stuff. But a lot of the early artwork that you see around the Pacific Rim, is related to a lot of these symbols that were supposedly found on these gold tablets that Churchward was introduced to by this guy in Nepal. And it gets crazy. But I mean, the guy who painted him, his name was Jack Tabor. And from the time I got on the island, which was 82, I was going to the theater a lot there, and was fascinated by these murals. And about 10 years ago, when I started doing the film stuff, I decided to make a documentary about Jack Tabor, who had actually passed away in 88. So I wound up getting these books. I think there's 5 different books about Mu, and they're really pretty dry. But I eventually wound up meeting his wife, his second wife, and she gave me these scrapbooks. And I thought they were just on loan, but she just sort of gave them to me, and I hasn't asked for them back. And so when the word invite came up, I was remembering this invitation that was in the scrapbook, and it was a whole section. Actually, probably about a third of the scrapbook is all newspaper articles and photographs from the Trans-Pacific yacht race, which Jack Tabor was a crew on one of the boats, one of the crew members on one of the boats, and so was his wife. And so I was remembering this invitation that was in there, and this is kind of a meditation on an invitation. And I started to do this, and I got about 3/4 of the way through it, and I hated it. And so I threw everything out and rewrote the whole thing. And I kind of like the way it turned out this time. So, which is kind of a long way of saying play the film.
Wow. That's awesome.
All right.
And we
Well,
can
here
talk
we
about
go.
it afterwards.
Okay.
Meditation on an invitation.
Yeah.
Nice.
They say that the sea has many secrets, kind of like other people's scrapbooks. There is this invitation in one of Jack Tabor's box of memories. It was sent to Tabor and other members of the crew of a sailboat named Seashell that sailed in the 1955 race known as the Honolulu Race, or the Trans-Pacific Yacht Race, or these days simply Transpac. How did Tabor get this invitation? Was it handed to him by the lady with the lays, or delivered by some dutiful sea creature? We will probably never know. The sea has many secrets, like other people's scrapbooks. It hung up a little bit there on that when it went to the picture of the lady with the lays.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it actually is a pretty. It was a whole bunch of like, I don't know. It was probably some local newspaper photographer was taking them because they were pretty high quality. They were all pretty sharp and all by flash because it was at night. But,
Oh,
anyway,
I'm sorry. I guess
maybe it'll play through the next time.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, apologize for that. My internet, I guess, is a little bit slower today. For some reason, it becomes internet, that mysterious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Warner says nice graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like how you, I was going to say that's one of the nicest introductions to a film I think we've ever had. It was really, really nice, good story. Which you revealed some of the secrets of your film, because like what you alluded to in the scrapbook, so scrapbooks allude to bigger stories. They always do.
Yeah.
As you thumb through a scrapbook, you're always curious what more of the backstory is to these photos. And so you shared backstory with your film that we would have never known without
Right.
what you told us.
Well, the thing too, one of the things that got me thinking about this, that always has me thinking about somebody else's scrapbook, is when my parents passed away, and I wound up with these bags of all these photographs from their friends who I had no idea where it was taken or who they were or anything. I mean, they were meaningless.
Yeah.
And I think about that in terms of like what I'm leaving behind. And I mean, pictures of our dogs, there's no dog names or anything, and my trips across country in weird places. It's the context is lost, and the idea is lost. And that was part of the premise of this, was you can kind of make anything up you want, but you also have some obligation to tell the truth about what you know. So at least I feel you do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's an interesting dealing with photography, scrapbooks, those memories, and what's important, and what's their a sense, sort of legacy,
yeah.
But yeah, I liked your like, speaking of the graphics, it's pretty cool. The little what did you use to do the map, with the boat going across it?
It was my I've got a copy stand, and I hung for the photographs. I just was shooting with my Canon EOS R, the mirrorless, and I've been using this. I was debating. I have all these lenses from this company in Portland called Lens Baby.
Oh,
and if you crank the f-stop all the way open, there's a whole series called Velvet, and it's like the whole Vaseline on the lens thing. It makes everything really fuzzy and it maintains some crispness to it. It's kind of bizarre. And I was shooting some of the photos with that, and the edges were blurring out and stuff. And I was back and forth as to whether I really wanted to blur those as more a memory thing or keep them sharp as a document thing. And I wound up inserting all of those. There's a feathering function in Premiere where you can fuzz the edges so you don't have a really crisp line, so they kind of blend into the picture rather than self-isolate with sharp edges. And the thing with the wave at the beginning was, I shot that in a rainstorm down on the south end of the island, and the sun came out, and when you crank that lens open, I had to crank the shutter down because it doesn't have any neutral density on it. So there was way too much light coming in. So the shutter speed was way cranked up. And if you look at the wave, it kind of becomes cubist. It starts going sideways.
Yeah, I noticed
rather
that.
rather than just coming in. And I think that was a function of having a really high shutter speed,
Huh. Yeah,
which I thought was pretty cool.
It's kind of trippy.
It was an interesting, happy accident, I guess. But
so were you saying the animation of the like when you the journey?
I forgot. I printed and I had to figure out the size, but that map is actually one of the things that was in the scrapbook.
Okay.
And then I printed a picture of the seashell. That's actually the seashell that another boat had taken.
Mm.
And then cut that out with an Xxxxo, and then did a stop motion thing. I've my XF100 Canon has a interval shooting capability, and so it was like I'd move it and like take 3 frames or 2 frames and then move it. And I was thinking of doing it like this, but it was too complicated. I didn't. After scrapping everything and starting over again, I just said, "Oh, screw it. I'll just follow the line." And the first, when I had first done the map, I just put my finger on it and ran it across. And then when and that was in the first version. And then when I decided to redo it, I said, well, let's animate a picture of the seashell on the map and take me out of it.
That's cool.
So
it's like old school, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like some of the other things that I did with the peeps. You know, it was all stop motion stuff.
All right. Yeah, you're gonna bring the peeps back?
I'm locked into this sort of pseudo documentary phase right now.
Locked in, huh?
Yeah.
He's got a contract.
Okay, but the peeps are classic. You could do a documentary about the peeps.
I could. Well, and I have most of the ones that performed or acted in all the pieces. I couldn't throw them out.
So you could just do a documentary.
Mm-hmm. And interview them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I've been thinking when Easter comes around, I usually stare longingly at the peeps at the Thriftway, and if they have anything new, I'll usually buy a box. I have a whole box or bag under the kitchen counter of unopened peeps boxes that they're just waiting to get out and get their acting chops together.
Jeff already has a name for your documentary, Behind the Peeps.
Behind the Peeps. Have you ever microwaved a peep?
Well, the first Peep movie, which it was before the Minute movie started. I think there was a Minute. Oh, no, it must have been going then. I think. Anyway, they had a Minute festival at the Vashon Theater. I think I told you guys about that. It was around the time it started, I think. And that was it was the first Peep. And I incinerated them with a weed dragon and then sped it up. So they just went. And they're just sort of smoldering piles of marshmallow at the end. And then I animated them because I had the sound of the weed dragon going, and I animated them so that it looked like they'd all been sort of standing around on a hillside, and then this jet noise started going. They were all looking around, and then all of a sudden they just melted. It was sort of minimalist. But no, I mean I could do. We do have a microwave. It's those are the only ones that didn't make it into the cast archive. They sort of had to be thrown out.
Just melted away.
Yes.
You don't have a puddle of
No.
puddle
I
of
mean I could make
sacrificial
one pretty
peeps?
easily, but rather than just sort of sacrificing them, I'd probably just buy some marshmallows and stack them up and melt them in place and say, yeah. I mean, you get sort of this attached to them in a way. I animated some pumpkins once too, and I couldn't throw the pumpkins away. They kind of rotted.
I
think the peeps have enough preservative in them that they mostly stick around, although they kind of melt.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever kept peeps long enough for them to melt.
Well, put them in a show, and you'll never want to throw them away. Put them into the
put them in the scrapbook.
All this needs to go into your Peeps documentary.
Yes.
So there'll be some context for the people that come after and kind of go, "What the heck is this box of Peeps? Why is this?" And it's like, well, no, those Peeps are really important.
Box of treasure.
It's my Peeps scrapbook. Scrapbook.
Well, this recording will have to go into your archives too.
You're recording this? Oh yeah, I guess you are.
Yeah, YouTube records automatically. You can watch all of our live streams on YouTube.
We are, worldwide broadcast.
Yep.
Oh, and there's 131 subscribers too. So
yeah, watch out.
People are watching.
Like all those people.
All of them.
So many eyes.
Right. Well, thanks,
thank
Peter.
you so much, Peter.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, it was good to see you.
Yep.
Oh, where's the button?
Get him off! Get him off!
See you next time.
Wow.
Okay, Kirk, are you ready? I'm bringing you on.
Sounds good.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing good.
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I have to just get this out of the way. Disappoint everybody all at once. My minute movie has nothing to do with the Lost Continent of Mo, or Peeps, or anything we just discussed from Peter's discussion. That was also incredibly fascinating. But yeah. So when I heard the theme of Invite, what came to mind actually was the 1960 British film The League of Gentlemen. And so I basically ran with that basic premise, but went a completely different direction with it. And I don't want to reveal what the premise of that film is, because I want to see if it actually came across in my short, or if or if it's not quite clear what's going on.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that after we watch it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
And you must be Mr. Jeffrey Perkins. Or is it Alexander Barry? Or James Hunter, perhaps? You've gone by so many names.
Seem to have me at somewhat of a disadvantage, Mr.
Smith. You may call me Mr. Smith.
Seem to have me at somewhat of a disadvantage, Mr. Smith. You seem to know quite a bit about me, while I know nothing about you.
And yet you are here, Mr. Perkins. And yet you are here. It's the one thing you all have in common. You're all willing to do the irrational for the almighty dollar. So, shall we get straight to it, gentlemen? If you look to your left and to your right, you'll notice that each one of you is quite literally the best in your given field. And I stand to be kinder than anyone else has been to you up to this moment. $500 million, gentlemen. That's the prize.
Where'd you find the bill of steel?
Split evenly between us. And now that I've whetted your appetites, it's time to lay down some of the ground rules.
Lights out!
I will not be interrupted.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where was I? What was I saying?
Ground rules.
Yes. Ground rules. Let's go over ground rules.
It's kind of in sort of a Twilight Zone-esque series that I've got, including the previous one that I did. But yeah, curious to hear from both of your perspectives how clear the story was and if it came across.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll tell you what I think happened. Hopefully it's what you intended it to happen. So is the way it was set up was it was, a bunch of criminal masterminds being brought together for some grand heist of some sort was the premise. And then it seemed like it turned out it was just the one guy telling a story in jail to your character who was also like his cellmate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then it was because it was that lights out that kind of crossed that boundary between the story that was being told and the reality.
Yeah, so the premise of the movie The League of Gentlemen is that a ex-military man gets together a collection of military personnel that are all excellent in their given fields, and tries to pull off a heist with the precision of a military operation, basically. And so I wanted to start off with that premise fundamentally of a heist being planned by somebody who's inviting experts to participate in this endeavor, and then a realization with a twist ending that it's really all in this guy's head. And that he's really just gone mad.
He's just ranting to his cellmate.
A couple of things were interesting, or that it starts from looking at you, following you
Mhm.
into the building, and then it ends in this, you're just kind of like going, yeah, what, okay, whatever, dude. At the end, we're just humoring your crazy bunkmate.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, like obviously $500 million, split amongst you is, a huge amount of money. And then the setting is the library,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Instead of some grand, expensive place. But so there's a little bit of
Incongruity.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
incongruity, a little delusion
Not
there.
quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's maybe a little criticism, but
Yeah, certainly.
the sheets that you were sleeping on were like brand new, folded right out of the package.
Mhm.
And then I just noticed you had a really nice watch in prison. It's like, okay. So you must be an important guy, in prison, I suppose, with clean, fresh sheets and a nice watch.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that because about the sheets, because between anybody I knew, I couldn't find any white sheets, and so I had to buy white sheets from OfferUp.
OfferUp.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought them. So it was funny because it was some lady that was selling them for $10. And so I went to go buy them, and I tried to pay with I forget, whatever, Zelle or something like that, because she said she takes cash or Zelle, and so I tried to pay with Zelle, but she wasn't really wanting that. She was wanting me to pay the cash, and I only had a $5 bill, and so I ended up just paying $5 for these sheets.
Wow.
There you go.
It's a good deal for sheets.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But
Yeah.
I just couldn't get white sheets.
It's like you're always going the extra mile for these films.
But yeah, I got white sheets, got a military style blanket, wool, green wool blanket
Okay.
from Amazon.
And then the jumpsuit that your friend was wearing, the prison.
Yeah, so that
With the
was
numbers on it.
also ordered from Amazon.
Oh wow.
Was pretty inexpensive.
Oh, Jeff says his impression was that it was a caper kind of thing, and the prison scene came across as the start of a flashback that would lead back to the meeting.
Yeah, you could interpret it that way.
So it could come full circle.
Yeah, I think that some things that kind of would work against that interpretation again would be the some of the things that Stuart, you had pointed out about the size of the the take, and the fact that they're meeting in a library in spite of that, and also the fact that he in the first section Mr. Smith comes across as a lot more polished than he does in the prison, where he comes across as much, where he's much more nasally and can't form a comprehensive thought. All things that
not all there.
Yes, that he's just kind of lost his marbles, but the not necessarily things that couldn't be, explained away by the, and so that's not a bad interpretation.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a flashback from that meeting, where everything seemed like it was going to go perfectly, and then he ended up crazy in prison after getting busted for whatever it was.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. He did a really good job.
Yeah, he is a good actor.
I like his pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Peter says the library is probably a place that would have a low probability of being bugged. Well, there's that.
Yep. Yeah, the odds of somebody listening in and actually, taking you seriously would be pretty low at a library.
Yeah.
So not the worst place in the world.
Yeah, it's like our cell phones. A scene from, I was just started watching on Netflix this film called The Glass Onion, or The Glass Onion. I can't remember what the subtitle is, but anyway, it's about an invitation that these old friends have to come to the island that this billionaire is gonna.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Yeah. So there's an invitation. It's a pretty elaborate invitation he sent out with this box.
Yeah.
And then he
sequel to Knives Out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That it is. And then at one part of the scene, he's like disclosing what it's all about, and he tells the detective, like, well, your cell phone's not on, is it? You don't have your cell phone, do you? Or it's off. And he's like, yeah, I left it in my room. But indicating that, yeah, our cell phones are sources of being bugged. So even if people walked into that library room with their cell phone, they just, they're walk in with a bug.
I do have to say, though, so I was in the Washington Army National Guard for about 9 years. And that left me with a not overly strong impression of the efficiency of the U.S. government. And so while all this data might be collected and while it might all be tapped, the idea that it would actually get to the right people to do anything about it seems unlikely to me.
Yeah. The private companies that are mining it so that they can better advertise to you are probably more efficient at utilizing the data they collect.
Yeah, but
they're
then
probably not reporting stuff to the FBI.
But then this AI is coming on board, and it's it's a little bit more diligent, shall we say, of mining data.
This is true. Although it's also looking for what it's looking for, which isn't crimes to be committed. Again, it's trying to figure out, all your buying habits and, that sort of thing.
Not quite living in Minority Report yet.
Yeah. I think we got a little ways to go for that before that.
All righty.
All right. Well, thank you, Kirk.
We stretched it out with all.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah. Love your work, Kirk.
Thank you very much.
Always
great talking with the two of you.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you.
Oops.
Oh. Well, here we be.
Here we be.
Yeah.
All right. Should we watch them all again?
Watch them all again, and then
all three of them.
All three of them, and then run through the. Find out what the word for next month will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Buktowski. What do the world's leading tech billionaires and unelected health officials share in common? They've been invited to the annual Portugal-based Xxxxx Infectious Disease and Development Conference Expo, at which officials will be exploring, among other issues, best quarantining practices as well as digital ID developments. Joining us to discuss is the conference head, as well as World Health Federation Chairman, Xxxxx. But first, a word from our sponsors, North County Jefferson Auto Auction.
To get you pre-financed, plus we're going to do a vehicular inspection before leaving the property. All going to be buttoned up for you.
Dr. Coop, thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about this expo?
Thank you. Right now, our main focus is bringing together biotechnology and outbreak mitigation.
And why, after the latest string of health emergencies, it's now back on the radar?
We cannot wait for another incident to harness biodata, especially in the third world. Now, surveillance is extremely important.
Better make sure I keep eating my Wheaties. Tomorrow on News 9 at 5, the latest behind the curtain of recent digital token collapse, Langlon, and the allegations surrounding its founder. We'll bring you the latest.
They say that the sea has many secrets, kind of like other people's scrapbooks. There is this invitation in one of Jack Tabor's box of memories. It was sent to Tabor and other members of the crew of a sailboat named Seashell that sailed in the 1955 race known as the Honolulu Race, or the Trans-Pacific Yacht Race, or these days simply Transpac. How did Tabor get this invitation? Was it handed to him by the lady with the lays, or delivered by some dutiful sea creature? We will probably never know. The sea has many secrets, like other people's scrapbooks.
And you must be Mr. Jeffrey Perkins. Or is it Alexander Barry? Or James Hunter, perhaps? You've gone by so many names.
Seem to have me at somewhat of a disadvantage, Mr.
Smith. You may call me Mr. Smith.
Seem to have me at somewhat of a disadvantage, Mr. Smith. You seem to know quite a bit about me, while I know nothing about you.
And yet you are here, Mr. Perkins. And yet you are here. It's the one thing you all have in common. You're all willing to do the irrational for the almighty dollar. So, shall we get straight to it, gentlemen? If you look to your left and to your right, you'll notice that each one of you is quite literally the best in your given field. And I stand to be kinder than anyone else has been to you up to this moment. $500 million, gentlemen. That's the prize.
Where'd you find the bill of steel?
Split evenly between us. And now, that I've whetted your appetites. It's time to lay down some of the ground rules.
Lights out!
I will not be interrupted.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where was I? What was I saying?
Ground rules.
Yes. Ground rules. Let's go over ground rules.
Yeah. Fun set of films.
Fun set of films.
Fun set of films. Sorry about no intro to
No
invite.
intro.
No intro to 2023. Already fallen off the bandwagon of our New Year's resolution. Like, let's do films every month this month. All right.
There's always next month. Let's do
Always
films every month next month.
Next month. Starting next month. Yeah. New resolution. Yeah. The resolution of. There we go.
Well, shall we see what our film next month will be about?
Yes. We will. We shall. We shall.
We shall.
We shall. In our the infamous Free Ballard board. Ready? Here we go.
Ready. Water?
Water.
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 Interesting.
Water.
Water.
The yeah, the elixir of life. Water.
Water.
Water just, falls from the sky.
Sometimes it's frozen. Sometimes it's wet.
Frozen, wet. Sometimes you step in it.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, water.
We'll see what comes from it.
We'll see what comes out.
Not a drop to drink. Yeah.
It's all tainted.
Sometimes it's gaseous. That's true. Sometimes it's solid.
Sometimes some of our best friends are gaseous too. Sometimes it's solid. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's a fourth state of water. Sometimes it's structured.
Structured.
Yeah. Structured water.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you swim in it.
Swim in it. Yeah.
Sometimes you
dive into it.
Sometimes you cry it.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Aww. Do you know that actually different tears from different emotions look different under a microscope?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a thing that had if someone cried happy tears, then they looked one way. If they cried sad tears,
so how do they look?
They looked another way. I don't remember, but it had photos of them and how they looked, and they were all different.
So that is structured water.
Oh.
An example of it, yeah.
Then it was like if you have tears because you got something in your eye and you're trying to flush it out, that looks different.
Than laughing or crying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laughing so hard you're crying.
Laughing so hard you cry. Sometimes you laugh so hard you pee your pants. Okay.
Well, guess we'll see y'all next month for water.
Water. So much water.
February 19th.
February
is our
19th.
next screening, February 19th.
Okay.
And on that cheery note, good night.
Put it
Good night,
on
Jeff.
the calendar. Put it on the calendar.
Put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all February 19th.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.